Hey. I'm gonna feel so fake making this video. Today is July 7th. I'm Aquila, and this is a Lefty Knitter podcast. This is episode 73. A lot of just personal things are happening. And I know coping with things, you have to keep to some sort of regularity, and I feel like this is going to be like some sort of regular feelingness for me to record. I might not be as bubbly as I am sometimes, and I don't want to be just fake putting on a mask for everyone. So I'm just gonna put it out right there. I'm not gonna put our family's personal business out there, but it's just a tough time. So I'm not sure how much knitting will get done and how much I'll actually get to show you, but I wanted to keep some sort of regularity to my week, I guess. Not sure if that's even correct words. I have finished all the color work now on the Once in Floral sweater. So let me just say, you can find all the links down below for all my projects on Ravelry. And anything that I talk about, I also try to link it. If I don't link something, please message me or comment below and say, hey, what was that you were talking about? And I will try to find something on the interwebs and post a link to it for you. So the Once in Floral sweater is a project I'm working on for my husband, John, and I am done the color work. I'm so excited. I am also done the short rows because there's some short rows on the back. So the Once in Floral is by Maxim Sear, and I am using, all the yarns are Jimenez and Smith. Just to reiterate in case you've not seen prior episodes. So yeah, I am super happy. Again, God, showing this is always like, I always feel like a goof trying to show this. So the last color work is down there. This is the front part. I marked the back. I'm probably gonna pull this off my needle somehow, because that's the kind of week it is. Okay, so I have this stitch marker from Chevyrells, thank you. And I marked the back. So all my short rows are on the back. So you can see there's a lot more rows of the gray on the back than there was on the front side that I just showed you underneath that color work. There's like none, barely at all. Sorry, there's ends everywhere. Part of color work. So yeah, there's like nothing under there. And actually my short rows went around to here, so you can see how they've grown going around to the front. So I just wanted to show that. I have nothing else on my needles right now. I have not done much of anything. So I did post this on Instagram this morning, and I will probably shoot a video of us making them. So I wanted to show you guys. So I posted a picture of these and this. And they're a treat that I remember getting at like carnivals or the fair when I was little. And when you look it up, you do see on the Wikipedia page that it was a big thing in Baltimore. When I posted that, people commented that they've done it with oranges. So you take your lemon, you cut it, you stick the peppermint stick in it, and they're porous. They're not as, so you can't just use a candy cane, and you have to buy the right kind of peppermint stick. They have to be soft, kind of like the peppermint poofs that you can buy. I saw these in my local grocery store today, and I was like, oh, we have to get these because little Hazel's never had one. So they're kind of soft and kind of porous. So when you stick it in your lemon, you can use it like a straw. and then you eat your candy. So somebody else said they saw them, they buy them on Amazon for a big bucket for like $8. So if you want to try this, I'm going to try it with an orange because I'm now excited to try it with an orange because I've never done that. It's always been a lemon. They call them like lemon sticks. And I think we used to buy them for like 50 cents or something crazy when we were little. Of course, that price would probably be much more now. And I've not really seen them at fairs. Not like I'm going to any fairs recently, but you don't really see them. So I highly suggest this. It's going to be better, I swear, than the salt on watermelon that everybody was like, ooh, that's gross. I like salt on watermelon. John does not. So I'll insert a video about our lemon sticks. These are peppermint sticks. Let me go get the other things we need. Okay. And we need a lemon.
Wow, 1 second.
1 second. 1 second. She's coming back. All right. So these were a treat that Mommy used to get when she was little at like the fair and stuff like that. What are you doing? No, you're not getting up there. No, no, you're good. Okay. So what you do is you take your lemon and you kind of squeeze it a little, give it a little roll, get the juices flowing. All right, that's probably good. Then we are gonna. Can we get it in the video at all? A little bit. All right, so we cut it in half. Cut it length with, I don't know what you consider that. Okay, cut it like that, okay? And then, these are special peppermint sticks. So they're soft, and they're...
Can I try it on the plain one?
You want to try a plain one? Okay, go ahead. Too minty? Well, the mint is what you need. So you take your peppermint stick. We're going to take a bigger one though, okay? So you don't have to use that one. You can keep eating it if you want. Do you like it?
It's good, but too minty.
Too minty? Okay.
Yeah, but it is good.
Okay. So then you take this, and you take your stick, and you push it down in the middle, and you twist it. Real hard down in the middle. Okay? And then, what you do is, you start sucking the juice out of it. Let me get your seeds off. Do you want me to help you stick it in, or do you want this one? Okay, well here's, I already got a stick. I already got a stick out.
I want to.
Okay, put it down on the table so it's easier to push in.
There's one right there.
Okay, thank you. A seed in mine. It's real hard. You gotta maybe put it on the table. Twist and twist and twist and twist it.
No, I need help.
You need help? Okay.
It's kind of minting.
Okay, so now it takes a while for it to start coming up, but it's very porous and it'll come up through it.
Can I try yours?
Is that good?
It's not even coming out.
It's not coming out? Well, you gotta squeeze a little more maybe. So, people told me online that they do this with, they grew up doing this with oranges. So maybe we'll try an orange next time. But it's pretty, oh, you took your whole stick out.
There.
And it gets real soft and you can eat it. And then you can eat your lemon too. It's good. And it like changes the color of the lemon.
I'm gonna dip it in there so I can eat it with the juice, and that might be good. That's what I thought you were doing. Just dipping it in the lemon and getting the juice.
Oh, you could do that too. That gets real soft and falls apart. So yeah, that's the Baltimore lemon sticks. Good, right? Yeah, they're really good.
I can dip it in it so the juice gets on the stick
Oh,
and I eat it.
and my stick's falling apart. That's good. All right, you want to say bye?
Bye. I hope Zila's watching.
All right. Hey everybody, it is now Thursday, July, I gotta look at the computer, it's the 9th. I haven't worked much more on John's sweater. I've put a few rows on, not enough to be like, hey, look at his sweater. And I've cranked a little bit of stuff. I've tried, well, I cranked one thing. I didn't crank more than that. But I cast something on. So I try to utilize my Ravelry library, stuff that I've actually purchased. I try to actually make those projects. That doesn't always happen. And then we have the patterns that are gifted to us, right? So I went in and I looked in my patterns in my library, and I have 16 that were gifted. Now, 2 of them were gifted because I was test knitting them. But I've only made 6 out of the 16. And I feel like I should have at least made half of those. So you know when you, what is it, Thanksgiving, and they do the yarn wishes and you can buy patterns for people and things like that. I've gotten a few of, 3 of them actually were test knits, but either way, right? So I'm trying to use the patterns because I kind of feel guilty. Is that weird? I feel guilty that I've been given these patterns, these beautiful patterns that I'm like, oh, I would really like to make that. Somebody gifted it to me, or it was in my favorites or in my queue and somebody gifted it to me. Obviously I like it and I haven't made it. So I have wanted to make this sweater ever since it was gifted, and I just didn't fit it in, you know, like, and that's terrible. So Arthella, who is one of the duo of the Best Day Ever podcast, if you've not watched it, gifted me the Catbells sweater, and I don't know, I can just click on it because it's right here, right? By Nodecker. So I cast this on. I was like, I need to do this. I need to cast it on. So I cast it on. I'm using my John got these for me, my Knit Picks Rosewood needles. I know not a lot of people, well, I shouldn't say that. I like both metal and wood needles. These are really, really slick. I'm using them actually on his sweater and on my sweater now. So I feel like I like using my wood needles when I'm doing lace projects, even though his sweater is not a lace project. I feel like because it has a little bit more grip to it, and I'm not going to just drop my stitches as easily. So, excuse me, I'm a little froggy. I had bought a bunch of this yarn to make a sweater, a blanket. Never made the blanket. So now I've used it in a sweater for Hazel, and now I'm using it in a sweater for myself. This is worsted weight woolies by Lion Brand. And this is just the 99 colorway Fisherman, plain white, because I was going to do this really cool blanket that had all this texture to it, and I thought it would be really pretty in this because it would look antique-y. So this yarn is not 100% acrylic. It is 80% and 20% wool. I'm okay with an acrylic sweater. Totally okay with it. So I cast it on, and I think the only other pattern that I've ever cast on construction wise a sweater was, oh, that's really terrible. It's in my, I can see it in my head. The Magpie Tendency, I think, was cast on this way partially, because you cast on like the fronts, the other front, and then you connect them, and then you do until the armhole shaping, or the armhole splits are. So I have done the front of both, and I'm connected at this point. So let me get that out of here. I'm making the size, it's the 5th size, bust 47.25 inches. It'll give me about 7 inches of ease. It calls for like 6 to 10 inches of ease, so I'm kind of right in the middle there. And it'll grow a little, even though it is acrylic. So let me figure out which way is the front. Okay, so this is the right side. I guess it does kind of matter. And it's this all over lace. I'll pop a picture of the actual sweater here so you can see it. But this is the two panels. I'm connected, sorry. And they're like this. That's not right. I'm sorry, I am, like I said in the first clip, I'm kind of just running on autopilot at this point. Like, yeah. This is the front. I'm knitting this way, so I'm sorry. This is the right side. I should have had this more prepared and I apologize. That's the right side. It goes like this because this is your neck hole. So it is like, if you saw the picture, it does come out a little kind of boxy-ish looking, I guess, but not quite. Not quite like a boxy style, but because it does have some shaping in the body of it. But yeah, so there you go. And this is all over the whole sweater. So I just wanted to show you that. So I also, I was thinking about patterns that were gifted to me because I was just gifted from Charity. That's right? I'm gonna make sure. Yes. She said she really enjoyed seeing my stuff I was cranking with my Addi, and I was a little nervous about showing you guys all that stuff. But I think I'm gonna continue. When stuff starts getting too repetitive, I'll probably not show you as much, or just show you and be like, hey, I cranked this, and that be like 5 seconds. Tell you the yarn or something. But she gifted me a pattern. It's called Pixham, and I'll put it up here. The designer also has written the pattern. So the designer wrote the pattern for the Addi Express and hand knit. And I think that's awesome. So I really am excited to try this. It also calls in the pattern for using 2 fingering weight yarns together in your machine, which I had not tried yet. And Leslie from Not Quite Enough Yarn had mentioned to try plying my yarns, but if they're probably not plying the yarns in this pattern, so I might try. I mean, what's it gonna hurt? I'm just gonna rip it out and wind the balls back up. If it doesn't work with the 2 yarns, like just loose, not plied together, twisted together, I'm excited to try it. So, I mean, there's a lot of experimentation that happens when you get like a new piece of equipment. I mean, obviously just when you start knitting, all your first projects are kind of like practice. I mean, for the most part. And when you're trying something new, it doesn't always come out the way you want it to. Because it's a new technique or it's a new tool. So you just gotta like be patient with yourself and just keep trying. I mean, I had the yarn that I just cranked. I can show you guys real quick if you're interested. I just cranked this, and it was one of the Caron cakes, and I had cranked one of these already on my machine. But this one, I ended up having a drop stitch. It was just being a little finicky, and I had to restart. I had to start this one 3 times because I was having issues with dropping the stitch on my starter, the scrap yarn at the beginning. So yeah, I cranked the whole tube. I cranked the whole skein, I should say, of that. So there it is. I'm gonna Kitchener it together, and it's gonna wrap double. I haven't marked this one in my little notebook, but I think you have to use almost the whole cake. I didn't use the last color because I don't think this was a whole stripe in here. It didn't look like enough to be a whole stripe, so I didn't want to do that. And then I left myself enough yarn to Kitchener, so I'm Kitchenering in the color of the last stripe. So yeah, there you go. So how many gifted patterns do you guys have, and how many have you actually knit or crocheted? Just curious. I mean, out of curiosity's sake, if somebody had brought that up in a podcast, I'd probably go look it up for my own purposes, just to be like, holy crap, I've not even knit that. That's, you know, like I have 69 purchased patterns, and I doubt I've probably knit all of them. I've probably purchased them because I really liked them and then never knit them. So there's a goal for you. Knit all the patterns you purchased or were gifted. All right, so I'm gonna work on my Catbell sweater. So until the next clip, guys. It's Friday. I was at lunch and I was knitting for a little bit, and then I had just a span of time before I had to clock. I have to clock back in. I'm not clocked back in yet. But I wanted to test knitting 2 fingering weight strands together on my knitting machine, because that sweater pattern I showed, you can do that. And it didn't say anything about plying them together first. So I dug out this is my scraps bag of fingering weight. I have like 3 of these. But I dug out 2 colors that were high contrast, and I put them together. You have to ignore the top and the bottom is just waste yarn that you have to put on your machine. So this is on my Addi Express king size. So the 2 colors I used were this like pinky color and this green. I think it's called pistachio. But look how interesting that is. I think it depends on how it's fed into the machine. I mean, I'm just holding them in my hand, feeding them into the machine. And this side has even more blips of the green. I think that is pretty awesome. The inside is very green looking. So I just wanted to show you guys that, because I'm probably gonna, this was a test, so I'm gonna be ripping this out. But yeah, I think that's really neat. The pattern calls for a decent amount of yarn, and you knit on your machine in panels. So you have like 4 panels that you have to sew together. No. Yeah, it's 4 panels. One going this way on the top and in the back, and then one going this way on the top and on the bottom. So you have 4 total. I'm thinking for the top, front, and back, I'm going to use 2 yarns together, and on the bottom 2 different yarns together, so it'll be like 2-toned sweat. I don't know what to call that. It'll be color blocked, really. So I'll have 2 different mixes on the top and 2 different mixes on the bottom. Maybe even mix up which 2 I'm holding together for this versus this. I don't know. I gotta see how much yarn it takes. It takes a decent amount of yarn, and I think you need almost 4 skeins for fingering weight. So I figure if I split it in half each skein, I have 8, and then I could mix and match the 4 colors different ways. I don't know, but I think it looks really cool. I just did an Instagram story of it, and the lighting wasn't as good where I was trying to do that, but I think that's neat. All right, 3 minutes talking about this. Okay, so let's round up this week, and I have the gold tube that I showed you guys. I seamed this. Okay, is it Kitchener? It's the Kitchener stitch. But if you say that you Kitchenered it, is that a word? I don't know. I Kitchenered. See? I used the Kitchener stitch and I put the 2 ends together. I am going to take it out though, but I wanted to show you guys. So here is where my Kitchener stitch was. Interruptions. I was showing you where I had Kitchenered. So you can see where I Kitchenered it. What I didn't do on this one, which I forgot that I did on that purple, black, and white one that I had made for charity, or for my auction, you pick up all the stitches and you pull out your waste yarn, but you really have to kind of tighten that last row. So you have to go from the first stitch of the last round and pull it tight, and then pull all the subsequent stitches after that until you get to your last stitch where your yarn is, your yarn end. So you really should make that tight, because then you tighten up that last row, and when you Kitchener it, you don't get, I'm sure I could try to block that, but you just don't get that as much when you do that. Here's my end. I am going to take it out. I'm going to take it out because it ended up only being this long. Now, granted, you could wear it once, like a scarf. It's not quite, I wanted it to wrap twice, and this yarn just didn't have enough yardage to wrap twice and it be a dangling cowl. So I could, if you could hear that, she's going potty. So you can wrap it twice, but it's really tight. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I have some other yarn. The recipient wanted like a gold or mustard color. And she said another color, but I can't remember. I'm gonna see what else I have in my stash, and I might just crank this again and add like some blocks of color at the end to give it just a little more oomph. Because this one ball was just not enough to make a 2-loop cowl. Even a 1-loop cowl wasn't really pretty enough. I feel like if you're doing a 1-loop cowl, it should be like, stop here, per se. I think that's like more accurate. So I could make a 1-loop cowl out of it, and I could use the rest of this to use in my hats that are double-sided. I don't know, they're 2 layers. It's a 2-layer because you take the tube end to end and you shove the one side in the other. So this is gonna get ripped out. It's a shame because, you know, I Kitchenered it, but it's okay. It doesn't take long to crank. Again, this is on my Addi machine. Now the other tube I showed you, the Caron cake, I did Kitchener that, and I did remember to pull the ends tight on that one. And this one is great for a double loop. So it's now Kitchenered, and that's how long it is, like folded as the loop. Let me find where I Kitchenered this one. It was on, it was here. So I made sure I pulled that tight, so you can't even really tell. You can tell a little right here where that end is, but it's harder to tell. My Kitchener's not great, but it's okay. I have a cat breaking in my room now. Okay, so of course if you, and I didn't twist it or anything, it's just straight up Kitchenered. And so of course it comes down to like my crotch area. And then you can double loop it. And I think that's really great for a double loop. So this was one whole cake except for a tiny little bit of an end color. So yeah, that makes one double loop cowl. I think that's nice. So yeah, I just wanted to show you guys. Those are complete, well, this is completely finished. That would have been finished, but I'm not satisfied with it to give it to somebody. So I think these look so cool when you like fold them up or roll it. I had it rolled in the picture on Instagram, if you saw that. And it just looks pretty. The last thing I have to show is my sweater that I'm making, the Catbells sweater. And I have now finished both front shoulders, both back shoulders, and I've connected in the back. So I can slip that over my head and show you. So this is the front side. I finished, like I said, this panel, and then that's hard to show. Let me just slip it over my head. So you do the front panels, and then you connect them, and then you knit so far down. It looks so sloppy on, and I'm hoping that like once you do all the finishing with the neckline, it's gonna look better. But I did the 2 back so the panel started here, you pick up your stitches and you knit and pick up here, and now I've connected. I've only done 2 rows where I've connected, see? And yeah, so you can see on the inside where I've like picked up my stitches, there's like a ridge, which doesn't look terrible. So even if that was on the outside, but it's not, because the way you pick up from the right side. So yeah, now I have to knit this for so long, and then I'll connect it and knit the body. And then once, you know, because once I connect and pick up these stitches, I'll have armholes. Yay! So that's Catbells. The link will be down below. I can't remember the designer's name, but I believe on the top of the page it says like Pip and Pin, or Pin and Pip. Don't quote me on that. So yeah, I asked John this morning, I said, if I hate it in this color, will you help me naturally dye it? And he was like, sure. I want it to be kind of like a tan, maybe orangey tan color, rust even. He was like, oh, can we do indigo? And I was like, I don't want it to be blue. I would rather it be like a fall color. That's what I would like. Only because the picture on the pattern page, I'll insert the picture here. I think I may have already said I was going to insert that picture. The color she used is beautiful, and so I had shopped for yarn to make this, and then I never pulled the trigger because I wasn't sure what yarn I wanted. So now I'm just doing it in this, and if I really love it, I can always make another one. So I really like it. I really like it. And again, I've only done one other thing with this construction. I've said that already. Sorry. All right, I have a chair here, so I'm hoping John will join us. He's here.
Hi.
What are you wearing?
Khakis. Some shorty shorts.
Stop.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Showing all
Okay.
thrust. Do some squat thrusts in them bad boys.
Oh my god. Show him your new tattoo. Somebody questioned, they saw in the picture of you wearing the yoke of the sweater, they questioned this. And I was like, oh, my husband decided he was going to steal my tattoo and get a miniature-sized version in black and white.
It wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault. You've got cat hair all over your butt.
I know. So, yes, that is one of my knitting tattoos, which he stole.
It wasn't my fault.
Whose fault was it?
I was the tattoo artist that said, yeah, I'll tattoo you while you're piss-faced drunk.
What do you want?
I don't know.
What, did you find it on, like, Instagram and show her? Where did you have a picture of it?
It was Ronnie. It was on your interwebs or something.
He got he got a camper tattoo in, like, folk art style, and then he got, like, the little flower, which...
Looks like crap right now.
Yeah, they're annoying. That's terrible.
How do you
stand
do
up.
Boom. Hold on, how do I do this? There you go. There you go. Look at that leg hair. I should start OnlyFans for leg hair admirers.
Leg hair admirer.
I'm sure it's a thing.
It might be.
It's a thing, I'm sure.
It might be. So your shirt is from Ross Farms. You have other shirts from Ross Farms too, so.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
What else have you been doing?
crying a bunch.
I know. So at the beginning of the episode, I didn't tell you that I didn't put our public. I didn't tell them why, but we're having like a family thing. Because it just.
Yeah.
Because I told him, I was like, I might not be my bubbly, normal self, and I don't know how much knitting. I actually got a decent amount of knitting done. Maybe that was a coping mechanism. I don't know.
Nothing stops the knitting.
It could, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I broke my hand. One's bigger than the other.
This bone and this bone.
Yeah. That was pretty fun.
Out of anger, and that's the creepy cat.
We got ghosts in our blood.
In our blood?
We should do cocaine about it.
What?
I don't know.
Oh my god.
It's the same.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I got that good herb, man.
It ain't herb. If you want to smoke this, I'd be a little worried.
Can you
smell good?
Yeah.
So it's lavender. He plants lavender, I should say, every year in our front garden of our house.
That's not true at all.
Well, when it starts to die off or
We
whatever.
have lavender.
Yeah.
We planted lavender once. We don't
I thought
plant
you've done it
every year.
twice.
Well, I ripped it out after it stopped producing,
Okay.
and then
So
redid
twice.
it or whatever.
What year is this? This is year 2 for this lavender coming back?
Yeah. No.
3?
Yeah, I think that's the 3rd year.
We might need to pause. Interruptions. Yeah, so we had this on our table drying out, and then we have a jar and a half of just this, but then you were doing your research.
Yeah, a lot of people use the stems too, but for making stuffs. But apparently, like, I don't know, I wanted to make essential oils, but you have to have like a still. And then I found a really good tutorial on how to make your own still for at the house. But if I'm gonna have a still at my house, you can rest assured I'm not gonna use it to make lavender oil. So I'm just gonna try to make lavender oil instead of essential oil, which is super easy. But you need lavender oil to make all the other stuff, because I was looking at like sugar scrubs, and yeah, but I'm just going to use lavender oil instead of essential oil.
I don't see the difference unless
there's a big difference, because you have to use isopropyl alcohol and all this other stuff, and you've got to burn it off and bring it to temperature, and then it like
but what is the end result? How much difference? Like,
I'm just going to use more lavender oil instead of,
because it would be concentrated if it was essential oil.
So we'll see how it goes, man. I want to make a sugar scrub, and I want to make lavender oil, and I want to make. I was looking at how to make soap, but I don't know where to find like lye and stuff like that. So I'm not ready for that yet.
Plus, you don't have the molds. You don't have like.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have.
Okay, go away.
Okay, go away.
It's not a Dorito. She's almost 5 and don't know the difference between a Dorito and Cheeto. I feel like I've failed as a parent.
You have.
Yeah.
I don't know why you keep closing that door if you just left it open.
Because it's distracting. I like having a plain background.
Yeah, but then the cats are going to be like, oh, closed door. What's behind here? Oh my goodness. This room that we've been in a million times a day is brand new. Let's open it. And then the kid will be like,
2.
it's incense, baby.
I know, but it's red. It's red and it's fire. It's fire.
Well, that's probably worth looking into. Let's see. I know, that's how it works. You light it, and then as long as you don't mess with it.
Okay.
Kid chose now to figure out how incense works. Because we're a bunch of dirty hippies, so we cover up.
We cover up nothing. We like the smell of incense.
We do.
Yeah, it's not to cover up anything. It's like people that burn candles, they smell good.
Cover up all that weed you smell.
Oh yeah, because we smoke all the ganja.
Maybe I should start smoking
No,
weed again.
God.
Maybe that's the answer to all
No,
questions.
no.
How many weed smokers do we have out there? Drop a like and
Drop a like.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not prejudiced against people who choose to smoke at all.
Okay.
Like, oh, background noise. All right, I think we should just say Elle King has 3 new singles out right now, and you should go listen to them because they were really good. If you don't know who Elle King is, go look her up. She's Rob Schneider's daughter.
And if you're one of those weed sniffers, you should sniff some weed first and then listen to them.
Listen to her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
I
my
like her.
favorite.
I like her a lot. Hazel likes her too.
Yeah. I was thinking about getting divorced and then going and marrying her.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I guess that's your. What is that? We've talked about this on the podcast before. Your.
My past?
Yeah, your past. That's
Yeah.
it.
One of our plants are on fire.
Oh my god. Are
All
you
right.
serious?
She probably lit it on fire because
Hey, why is it moved right over top
she
of it?
moved the incense.
Stop playing with it. Get out. Go.
This is gonna be the end.
No, don't need to play with the smoke.
All right, John, you want to say bye? Of course you do.
Bye.
You're gonna knock the whole table over.
Bye.
Okay,
Bye.
you're done.
Bye. Bye.
Go. Okay. Hug your loved ones if you can. If you can't hug them, check in with them and make sure they know they're loved. Okay? And knit happy.
And Nipper.